Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're neurodivergent and job hunting, I've got something really important for you today. You know that moment when you see a job posting that looks perfect on paper, but you just get this weird feeling about it? Or maybe you're unsure how to figure out if a role is actually going to work for your brain and your needs? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And it all starts with looking past the job title. Here's the thing about job titles. They're kind of useless. I'm not exaggerating. A marketing coordinator at company A might spend their entire day crunching numbers in spreadsheets and running reports. But that same title at company B, they could be creating content, planning events, talking to customers all day long. Same job title, completely different jobs. And then when you're neurodivergent, this difference isn't just, oh, interesting. It's the difference between a job that energizes you and one that absolutely drains you. So the first rule of evaluating job fit is simple. Stop looking at the title. Start looking at the actual day-to-day reality. So the real question you need to ask isn't what's the job called, it's what will my typical Tuesday look like. When you're researching a role, get curious about the specific tasks. If the job posting says something like collaborate with cross-functional teams, dig into what that actually means. Is it 3 meetings a day with constant context switching? Or is it mostly asynchronous communication through project management tools where you can process information at your own pace? And here's why this matters. The rhythm and flow of work affects your entire nervous system. Some roles have really predictable patterns, maybe Monday reports, Wednesday check-ins, Friday planning sessions. Other roles require constant pivoting and responding to unexpected requests. Now, neither of these is inherently better, but knowing which one suits your brain is essential. If you're someone who thrives on routine and predictability, you'll probably love a role with clear structure and recurring tasks. You'll feel energized. But if you need variety to stay engaged, you'll want to look for positions that explicitly mention diverse projects and changing priorities. Otherwise, you might get bored or feel unmotivated. So when you're looking at a job posting, actually pay attention to language. What does it tell you about how this work flows day to day? Now, let's talk about environment. And I mean beyond just whether it's remote, hybrid, or in office, though that matters too. An open floor plan might be described in the job posting as collaborative and dynamic, but what does that actually mean for you? For some neurodivergent people, an open floor plan means constant visual and auditory distractions. That might be totally overwhelming. For others, remote work sounds perfect until they realize they actually recharge through face-to-face interaction and end up feeling isolated. So think about what environment actually helps you to do your best work. Do you need quiet? Do you need to see people and have structured social time? Do you need to be able to move around? Do you need to take breaks without feeling watched? Company culture goes deeper than ping pong tables and free snacks too. Look for clues about communication styles and social expectations. If the job posting uses phrases like fast-paced decision-making and thinking on your feet, that might signal an environment where quick verbal processing is really valued. But if you process information best through writing or you need time to think things through, this could be a friction point. So on the other side, if you see phrases like detail-oriented and process-driven, that might indicate a culture that genuinely appreciates thoroughness and systematic thinking, which, by the way, are huge strengths a lot of neurodivergent people have. So use the language in the posting to decode what's actually valued there. Now, this is a game changer, so I want you to actually do this exercise. Write down 2 lists. First list, your non-negotiables. These are things you absolutely need to function well in a job. Maybe that's having written instructions for tasks. Maybe it's being able to wear noise-cancelling headphones. Maybe it's having advance notice when your schedule changes. These aren't preferences or nice-to-haves. These are requirements for your success. Second list, your flex areas. These are aspects where you can adapt or compromise. Maybe you prefer email communication, but you can handle some video calls if they're scheduled in advance. Maybe you don't love group brainstorming, but you can participate if you get the agenda beforehand. The reason I want you to make these lists is because they help you to evaluate opportunities realistically. Without them, you might rule out potentially great fits over minor inconveniences. Or even worse, ignore red flags because you're trying to be too flexible. So take 10 minutes today and make those lists. Be honest about what you actually need. because that clarity is going to completely change how you approach your job search. Now, here's something a lot of people don't realise. The interview process itself tells you a lot about whether this job is actually going to work for you. Start paying attention to how the company handles scheduling. Do they offer multiple time slots or try to accommodate your preferences? If you ask to receive interview questions in advance or request a phone call instead of video, are they flexible? How they respond to reasonable requests during hiring often predicts exactly how they'll support you as an employee. And listen closely to the types of questions they ask and how they react to your answers. If you tell them I work best with clear deadlines and detailed project briefs, do they genuinely seem interested? Do they understand and do they appreciate that? Or do they pivot to talk about how everyone needs to roll with the punches and figure things out as we go? That reaction is telling you something really important. Remember, the interview isn't just about them evaluating you. You're interviewing them too. Ask specific questions. How do typical workflows actually happen? What does their feedback process look like? How is information shared within teams? Listen to whether they can answer those questions clearly and specifically, or if they're vague. Those details matter more than you might think. Right, let's talk about what happens after you get hired. Research what support systems actually exist within the organisation. Some companies have formal mentorship programs, clear onboarding processes, and documented procedures, structures that can be incredibly helpful when you're neurodivergent. Others rely on informal knowledge transfer, learning by osmosis, which can be really challenging if you process information differently or need explicit instruction. Also consider the growth trajectory. How does advancement happen in this organisation? Some companies promote based on social networking and self-advocacy, which might feel really difficult if that's not how your brain works. Others have clear performance metrics and structured advancement paths. Understanding how success is measured and rewarded helps you figure out whether you can actually thrive long term, not just survive the first few months. Right, throughout all your research and interviewing, I want you to pay attention to something really important: your internal responses. That feeling of dread when they describe dynamic, ever-changing priorities, that spark of excitement when they mention their detailed documentation system, that's data. Your nervous system is giving you real information about whether this environment feels safe and sustainable. Here's what I've seen over and over. The perfect job on paper can be absolutely terrible for you in practice. And a role that seems like a stretch might actually provide exactly the structure and support you need to excel. So trust yourself. Your instincts matter. Finally, by looking beyond job titles to examine the actual work, the environment, the expectations, and the support systems, you're so much more likely to find not just a job, but a place where your neurodivergent strengths are genuinely valued. A place where you can build a sustainable, fulfilling career. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And if you have any questions about job fit or anything else in your job search, drop them in the comments. I do read every single one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck out there.